Welcome to another brand new episode of Undisputed Anime. This is the podcast where we love to give you some anime recommendations. I am your captain, your Taichou, Zane, and as always, I'm joined by my best friend who is zooming in and out like crazy.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. Here.
Have you unlocked like a new setting?
Yeah. I think I was messing with a setting on this laptop which I didn't know about like last time I used it. And now I can't remember how to get the menu up to turn it off. So just enjoy my dog, and I'll work that out as we go on.
As we go on. What an incredible episode already. Today, we have been lucky enough to have a special guest with us. One of the creators and head of cosplay, Bex, from AnimeCon UK. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here.
Thank you so much for having me, honestly. I'm really looking forward to it.
It's pandemonium already.
Perfect. What my actual title is Head of Chaos, really. So it's so it's fine. We'll be fine.
Is that kind of like a Scarlet Witch sort of kind of vibe?
Yeah. It's like a cross between it's a cross between like being a Scarlet Witch reference, but also being a slight reference to the Prince of Egypt as well. So I am the plague. So I just turn up and just destroy everything.
Do you give any notice, like a burning bush, of being like, by the way, I'm about to turn up?
That's probably fair. I should send the burning bush with like a 10 working days notice period. But no, I haven't worked that bit out. I just sort of arrive and that's it.
You gotta know.
Nice. Excellent. So, first of all, again, thank you for taking the time to be here. We are going to talk about AnimeCon UK, something that both of us are super excited about. But of course, we're familiar with it. So if for our listeners who may not be familiar with AnimeCon, could you give them an idea of what to expect or what's out there?
Oh my goodness. Well, AnimeCon, this is now our second year. So last year was our first year where we only did the Birmingham show in June. And this year we launched our London show, which we did in February. And then we're back at Birmingham on the 15th and 16th of June. AnimeCon is the sort of con it's big enough to be inclusive of all sorts of different fandoms, but still small enough to give it that kind of comfy feel, if you like. We're very heavy on our like independent artists and things like that, and just providing a lot of experiences for people to do. And one of the things we found is that a lot of the people who come to our show are people who've never been to shows, because there was a big thing in 2020 that kind of ruined everything. So it's always been designed to be that very sort of like welcoming atmosphere. So if you've never been to anything like this before, you should feel comfortable to come and not feel like this isn't for me, I'm overwhelmed or anything like that. And that's the thing that I love about it most. So
that's amazing. Yeah, I have to admit, as someone who went to their first AnimeCon last year, as you rightly said, in the NEC, it was amazing. And it was such an open air sort of environment, because even if you weren't so much into the hustle and bustle of the stalls, there was still like a Crunchyroll theater and that you could just sit in and just relax and stuff. So yeah, I have to admit, it felt like there was almost something for everyone when I went. So no, I appreciate that. Wow, yeah. Sorry, I got lost in my own thoughts there. What a great con that was. Yeah, I was like, man, that was such a good con. Like,
when
just watching anime. And
well, for me as well, it was obviously last June. I worked for them because I did the cosplay hospital last year, and that's how I got involved. And then obviously after I did that, my boss was like, "Oh, do you want a slightly bigger job?" And I went, "Yeah, all right then." And here we are. So for me as well to go into it, not fully from the outside, because obviously, like I say, I was still working there, but to go into it sort of like, I only had, I suppose, investment in myself at that point. So to go in, do it, and just really like it, and really like all the people that work there, and then be like, yeah, no, I will do this.
Mm.
You know, it's nice. It's nice.
Yeah, it's an amazing opportunity to kind of like step up further into something that you're already enjoying. Like, so
Yeah, and it was one of those things where it was so weird how it all happened, because apart from this, my other job is I'm a performer. So I do like character performer work. So I do like princesses and all that kind of thing. And I was getting to the point in that job where now I'm getting older. I was like, oh, I want to start winding down. And then this like
Right.
opportunity presented itself, and I was like, all right, well, we're going for it. So
That's amazing. Almost like the universe kind of came to you in a weird way.
yeah.
I like that.
I mean, don't
That's
get me wrong,
amazing.
there are still days at this job, as with any job, where you go, why on earth did I say yes? But but it's for 98% of the time, it's
the pros outweigh the cons.
oh, absolutely. And to work in a team of people, you know, I've worked in events for such a long time, and I have seen so many different groups of management and things like that. And I know I'm biased at this point, but genuinely the people I work with are really caring, genuine people who just really want to put on a good show for everybody. They want to do something good. It's not about like, oh, let me count my millions that I've got over here, you know. Kind of
Yeah,
thing.
absolutely.
So
Amazing. I guess for someone who did go to the first one or even the London one, is there anything that they might not expect for this one in the NEC? Is it going to be bigger, badder in a different way?
it's definitely be bigger, because at the
Mhm.
NEC we have Hall 1, which is the biggest hall that the NEC has. And you know, the floor plan isn't live for the general public yet, but obviously I've seen the floor plan.
Okay.
And we've got, I don't know how we've packed it all into that space while still making it sort of accessible and not feeling like you're squashed in.
Mm.
But we've got like a film festival again. We've got obviously the after party that Anime and Chill do, and they have booked some incredible acts for the evening. So we have that. We've got some incredible brands coming in. We've got Polyprops coming in, for example, who supply cosplay foam and filament and all that
Wow.
kind of thing. They're going to be doing like a panel demonstration. So it's definitely, as the years go on, you obviously get more traction that people want to come and work with you and want to come and exhibit. But it's also really nice to see it grow from, you know, almost having to beg people to come to
Oh,
now
wow.
people want to be there, right?
Yeah.
And just, we've got some workshops going on. There's so much. Honestly, just don't like don't ignore our social media for the next few weeks, because it's just you're popping off. It's gonna be like everyone's gonna be like, oh, I go to that.
Start planning your visit now. It's
Yeah.
like
Bring energy drinks.
well, to be fair, like I've remarkably unexperienced in cons. I've only ever been to two.
Right.
One of them was very small in
Okay.
Cardiff. One of them was huge, being MCM.
Yeah.
And going in there without a plan, it was overwhelming. Like, it was so much, and if you didn't know exactly where you needed to be at what time,
Yeah.
it was a lot to deal with. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the classic FOMO as well, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
it's one thing to to kind of try and prep for these things, but then it's the like, oh my god, I'm in the middle of floor X and I need to get to room D. I don't want to miss
there's a
this.
5-minute overlap. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the FOMO is definitely real, and especially when you're in a herd of people. Yeah, it can feel 10 times worse. Amazing. I'm really excited for this convention. I've got like 1,000 thoughts going through my head. Like the cast lineup for the panels look amazing. Again, I've probably seen that more on the social media because everyone's just commenting so much on all the voice actors that are appearing and such.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you're kind of excited to kind of for people to see, or
I mean, I definitely think I'm personally quite excited for the after party,
Yeah.
because some of the acts, like there's a drag group that we've got coming to the after party. Anime and Chill always do such an amazing job with things like that. The other thing that's been sort of really cool this year is I've had a lot more creator panels to play with. Like I said, that's where Polyprops are doing stuff, but we've got people doing we've got someone doing Defend Your Anime Crush. We've got somebody doing,
Ooh.
but then it goes from everything like that all the way up to like, you know, altering store-bought cosplays for plus size cosplayers and things like that. And
Oh wow.
so we've got a bit of everything, and I really like that. But I'm definitely excited for some of the guests, because my favorite guest this year is probably going to be Josie. So I am a bit like I might sneak off at some point and be like, can you sign my thing, please? So, but I know everyone's very excited for Alejandro Saab and Zeno Robinson, because obviously of Sino from Genshin Impact, and then obviously Hawks from My Hero Academia.
My
like,
Hero. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. When we booked that one, I was like, oh my god, that's a good one, isn't it? Like even I was surprised.
Had to like do a double take on it. It's like,
Yeah. Well, when we did London, our boss always says, has anyone got any suggestions? You know, what do you think would be good? And I said Keith Silverstein for London, and
wow.
and then we got him. And I honestly, I didn't know what to do for a solid like hour. I was like, Keith. So I've got to try not to be like that this time. I've got to be like classy.
Keep the professional glasses on.
Yeah,
Not fun glasses.
Yeah.
when I went to London, you know, the team was saying like, you know, if you want to shoot some content with some of the voice actors, you know, you could definitely do that. And like the fanboy in me was like, I don't think I can. I'm just like, there's no way I could approach them. Like,
you wouldn't be able to
like,
string together a coherent thought.
Yeah, without just completely crumbling. So yeah, I can't even imagine trying to doing it as a job role as well as like containing the fandom.
I mean,
Like,
it's also one of those things that, particularly for London, right? All of the guests were staying in the same hotel as us. So in my
Right.
head, I had this vision that when I met Keith Silverstein, it would be I'll walk up to him, maybe catch him on his break, be like, "Oh, hello, I'm so and so, big fan of your work." And it didn't happen like that. It was at breakfast on Saturday morning. I was half in cosplay. I was a stressed little gremlin, and I'm stood there, and I'm like, oh my god, and our social media person came down and she was like, yeah, Bex, I've got someone to meet you.
No.
And she's there with him. And I was like, hello? He's like, oh, you're Bex. And I'm like, oh, no. Oh, God. Oh, help.
This isn't how I wanted it to be.
I know. And I'm like, hello. It's like 7:00 in the morning. I don't know what's going on. He was lovely. I'm very pleased to say that he is genuinely one of the nicest people I've met. Wow. Did you meet him as well, Zane? Or
I couldn't muster the courage. I am nothing but a cowardly lion at the best of times. So yeah. But again, it's just to be in that same room and like I got to listen to his panel talk and stuff was really cool. So
it's always very insightful, isn't it? Even if you don't get to like address them directly, like to actually just kind of like be in a space with so many other people who kind of like respect and like enjoy their work and stuff. It's a different energy to being online.
Exactly. Yeah, it's one of those weird things where you think of every piece of work they've done and you love, and you think of like 9 different quotes in their voice and everything else. Even I forget her name, but the lady who plays the ladybug in the
Ivy.
Yeah. Even that was just kind of like, whoa.
I took her I had a boxed Marinette doll, and I was like, I went up to her when we were backstage and I was like, can I get my Marinette doll signed, please? And she was like, yeah, sure, hon. And I'm like, ah.
Incredible.
So good. I guess my sort of final question leading up to this is, I think you've already kind of touched on it already in terms of what the con means to you. But again, I was kind of thinking along the lines of, what was I thinking? I was thinking, yeah, you've already kind of mentioned how it means to you and such, and you know, do you think there's anything else that people might appreciate going into this convention?
We usually have at Birmingham, we have the mental health first aiders walking around.
Wonderful.
So if you don't feel particularly good, and you don't have to have any sort of pre-existing mental health condition for that, that's something that venue has done for like concerts and things like that, because as I was saying earlier, like things happened in 2020. There's quite a few
Mm.
years where a lot of people didn't get out.
Yeah.
And also it can sometimes be not necessarily even about crowds and things. It can just be being a bit overheated, maybe being a bit dehydrated as well, or just sometimes I see people after they've met this voice actors and it's really emotional, and that's
Mm.
fine. And so they'll have t-shirts on that say like it's okay to not be okay and stuff, and you can just sort of, they can show you where our quiet room is and things like that. So if you're perhaps a bit nervous about coming for that, then know that there is like a place for you, and it's totally fine to just be like, do you know what, I need a minute kind of thing. So
Phenomenal.
yeah.
So
Excellent.
important to have spaces like that, especially these days. I think the fact that people are being more like organizers being much more conscious of things like that is like so much better than it used to be. Like obviously it used to be
Yeah.
kind of a bit of a, you're just thrown to the wolves. It's like, oh well, you're having a panic attack, you go and take some deep breaths somewhere and
Yeah.
come back. So
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know last year, like when I did the June show last year, I ended up burning myself out a bit too quickly because I was doing too much, and I didn't schedule my breaks properly and things like that. And like I have chronic health problems, so I should be more careful. But when you're in it, you just sort of go like, oh my God, exciting. So even I had to go off and sit in the quiet room and cool down and have a Chupa Chups lollipop and just chill for a minute and just stop. And it's like, okay, if even people in management need to do this, it's totally fine for attendees as well. Just go and do your thing. It's absolutely fine. Nobody minds.
exactly.
No, it's a great message, because again, I think it's something that a lot of people don't consider, or especially like when we went to the big MCM one, like we thought we'd just be on our feet all day, and it's like actually we need like the time to chill out and reset.
Having that space was so vital.
Yeah.
So
absolutely,
peace and quiet and cooling down.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so important.
So have you got any other sort of questions about the convention or anything?
I just really want to know like general hype levels of certain things. Like what we talk. I'm a massive fan of an artist alley and stuff like that and stuff. And Zane might have to pull me away from such places, but I'm guessing fully and adequately stocked with many talented.
It's honestly, so if you imagine the floor plan as like a square, literally like the bottom half of the square, more or less, is all artist alley. There's as much artist space as there is dealer space.
Perfect.
So when the floor plan goes live, I know you'll be planning your little shopping route, won't you? You'll be like, oh yeah, we'll go here first, Zane. Stop off there and get a drink and then come back round.
Yeah, I was a bit bad at that last time we went to a con, and my wife absolutely didn't recently say to me, I absolutely don't need more prints for our hallway wall. And she winks at me. So, I'm taking that as a green flag.
Also, a lot of the people in our artist alley, a lot of them were people who, for one reason or the other, got declined at MCM. So a lot of people, they weren't at MCM last week. So if there are any artists that you particularly love that you usually saw at MCM, please come and support them at our show, because they need that income. It's not about us selling tickets anymore. That's about their independent artists. So please, like, you don't have to come for us. I don't mind. You can walk in, spend all your money there and leave straight after if you want. That's absolutely fine. Just those artists work so hard and they deserve that the shopping, you know. So
I've spent so long watching some of these people online and seeing what they post. It's kind of like, it's in the same way as like going to a panel and seeing a voice actor talk and the energy being different. Actually meeting like some of these creators in person is like such a humbling experience, because you're such a talented artist, and then you speak to them
yeah,
and they're so down to earth, and it's just like,
yeah, for sure.
how can you be so talented and also be so nice as well?
Yeah.
That's not allowed.
You can't be both. What are you talking about?
It's also a great opportunity to discover new artists as well.
Yeah.
Like we make a habit, and I've literally got them in like arm's reach of like business cards
Business card.
that
Yeah.
we collect because
Every store, every single person I saw.
Yeah.
it's a great opportunity, because you may not have the funds at the time, but it's a great way to go on their Instagram, get some stickers and stuff at a later date. So yeah, we're huge fans of independent
I've had to
artists and
start,
such.
if I get the business card, then have to take a photo of the business card with the stamp.
Yes.
So I remember why it is I picked up that business card. Otherwise, it's like 2 days on Etsy trying to find what it was I was looking for.
You've also got to be fast on the drawer of your phone as well, because as the day goes on, they run out of business cards, and then you've got to take a picture of their Twitter, their like handles or their like QR codes to be able to get back to them. I think I had to sit for like an hour after getting back from MCM last time and try and work out which business card related to a particular artist I wanted to buy something from.
Excellent. I wanted to ask some cosplay questions, if
Go on.
possible.
Absolutely.
I guess my first question was around like the entry level for cosplay. What would your sort of tips or advice for anyone who's ever considered or thought about getting into cosplay?
So one of the best references I can make is if you've seen the US office, and at Halloween, Jim does 3-hole punch Jim, where he just has the 3 dots on his shirt. That's a cosplay. If that's what you do, that's fine. I'm incredibly passionate that if your cosplay is, I put a headband on today, you're valid. Like, because yes, although I've competed in cosplay, I've been a judge at cosplay competitions, and I do it, semi-professionally. It's like cosplay really is for everyone, and I know it sounds so cringe to say it because everyone says it, but genuinely, like, if it's a t-shirt, fine. You do, it's for you. It's not for anyone else. Don't care what anyone else says. You turn up and you enjoy you.
Absolutely.
And I think we've had a lot of periods in like past throughout growing up and stuff where I feel like there were times where it's kind of like, if you weren't doing full on cosplay, people wouldn't consider you in that space. And now it's great that for so many things, not just cosplay, it's like you don't have to be like the very best wearing like a full set of armor that you have made yourself in order to be a part of that space.
Yeah, exactly, because cosplay is so vast. Like, it can just be something from like a headband and a t-shirt, like all the way up to the sort of thing that Kamui cosplay builds, where it's armor and LED lights and all this kind of thing. And like, okay, granted, if you're just doing a t-shirt and a headband, you're probably not going to enter a big competition that's got like a thing that says you must have made 80% of your costume, of course. But when we're talking about going to conventions, the whole point is we're all going there because we're all a little bit geeky. And it's like, just do whatever you want. I find it really difficult when people are like, oh, have you seen their cosplay? Like, they bought one off AliExpress, whereas I bought mine. And I'm like, who cares? Right? My mum turns up in her work outfit, like in her dental scrubs. You're going to tell me that she's like, oh, it's not very good cosplay, is it? It's like, no, she can do whatever she wants. Do you know what I mean? I might tell her to do that one year, actually, do you know?
No, that's amazing. Yeah, it's you raise a valid point, because it's a way of expressing your fandom, isn't it? More than anything. And due to limitations and what you feel comfortable in as well. It's like I a few years ago I went to New York Comic Con and I tried to do a Bishop cosplay, and the only things available to me was a blue t-shirt which a friend of mine put yellow stripes on and an X, and I tore a red scarf to make a bandana, and that was it. That was my Bishop cosplay. But some people still got it because they were
Yeah.
like, Bishop, like, do you know what I mean? So it was just kind of like, that was still cool that people recognize, even though it's like minimum effort
Yeah.
from my part.
Well, I remember when, like, I mean, how old was I when I think my first con I ever went to, I was like 16. So we're talking like 13 years ago now. And I went, and I just remember it being like, because obviously this was in the day, back in my day when there was no Instagram, you used to see people and dressed in a cosplay. And of course, back then as well, a lot of these big like Chinese brands were not around. AliExpress wasn't as accessible, this kind of thing. So a lot of people, there weren't good buyable cosplays, but you would look at someone and go, oh, they're obviously dressed as so and so, and you would go up to them and be like, oh, hey, I love that you're cosplaying, I don't know, Lara Croft, right? You know, it's a girl with a blue tank top and some brown shorts on. Fine, they're not the exact pleating that Lara's shorts are, but who cares, right? And you go up to them, you talk to them, oh yeah, I love Lara. Oh, what's your favorite level in the game? Da, 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 da. And then you swapped email or MSN, right? That's how long ago it was. And then they became your friend. And then they were the people that you went to con the next time with. And then it was like, once social media really blew up, it became very much like cliquey. And I'm really keen to push it back towards being, hey, you look cool, let's be friends. Because that's how it should be, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. That's an amazing story. I hadn't really thought of that before, of like approaching people and then, like you said, swapping MSNs and stuff. But yeah, I can really envision that. And I see it more at like group meetups now. Like people follow certain, I don't know, Facebook groups or pages and stuff, and they'll organize to have like a huge My Hero like meetup sort of thing, which is really cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes you make the best. Sometimes, like, some of the best friendships that I've made have been made through like unconventional means, like through creative spaces online and stuff. Like, I speak to some people that I met online more so than I do to friends I've had since I was in like secondary school and stuff. And it's kind of like crazy. Like, I just connect with these people on a much deeper level in a lot of ways. So
100%. And it's a bit like, you know, when you're at work, like your colleagues are your colleagues because you're forced to socialize with them, right? Whereas when you're at something that's geeky or of a very specific interest field, the people who are there have genuinely something in common with you, rather than the small talk at the, you know, in the kitchen at work kind of thing. So it's like, it's definitely, I've made a lot of friends on Twitch, for example, just people that you hang out with and people that you can speak to in the evening while you're playing a game and just be chill.
Easy friendships are the best friendships.
Can I ask what your Twitch handle is?
It's Bexi Beans. I'm Bexi Beans on everything.
Amazing.
Well, solid branding.
Don't catch me.
We'll be sure to add the relevant links to descriptions as well.
Thank you.
No problem. My follow-up question is, what 3 items could you say you couldn't live without to make a cosplay sort of thing?
Glue gun. There is nothing in this world that can't be fixed by glue gun. Honestly, I think if we just need to give like the NHS a load of glue guns, and when people come into A&E, broken leg, get the glue gun, Deborah, get the glue gun. That's what it's gonna be like. So glue gun, safety pins, definitely safety pins. For me personally, it would be my sewing machine, but that's because I am a sewer. But obviously, it will probably depend on your field of interest, really. But yeah, if you've got glue and hope, you'll be fine.
glue and a dream.
Yeah.
I constantly see stories about how cosplayers wait until like the 11th hour to try and like put it all together, sort of thing.
Yeah, you see people like putting them, so like glue gunning themselves into costumes on like the train and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then they all turn up to my cosplay hospital like, this fell apart, and I'm like, get the glue gun.
Stats.
Just like, I've put someone in a costume before and I've been like, listen, the only way this is going to stay on you is I have to sew you into it. So when you try and get out of this, you're going to have to cut the threads and then you're going to have to take it and actually have it repaired. But it's that, or you're going to walk around with various body parts falling out of you. And I don't think that's okay. So, and everyone's like, yeah, just do it. Just do it. And you're like, all right.
just do it, Doc. Do whatever it takes.
That reminds me of my wife is a Kardashian fan, and they always talk about the Met Gala and how they have to be like stitched into the dress and they have to be cut out like once it's all over, sort of thing. I'm getting those sort of vibes, like in terms of that story, sort of thing. That's crazy.
I do try to, if I'm repairing stuff for people, I do try to do it in a way that is at least somewhat semi-permanent. So for example, if someone's accessory fell off and I can see the reason that's falling off is because it's fighting against the fabric, then I'm like, right, I'm not going to glue this on. I'm going to glue this to a brooch back, and then you can pin it on and that'll take some of the pressure off. And then that means that for future wears, this will be more, you know,
sustainable.
Yeah, because I've done a lot of you know, altering and repairing like store-bought Genshin costumes that, you know, they don't fit as well, or they don't, you know, things are on poppers that could easily be on zippers and things like that. And so I do try to do it in a way that means that, you know, you don't, in the nicest, as much as I love seeing everybody at the cosplay hospital, I don't need the same person coming back 40 times with the glue. You know what I mean? It's like, I want to be like, go and enjoy this. Enjoy the con. Don't spend your entire time here with me repairing you.
It's interesting though in saying that, because like obviously I know that you're with the cosplay hospital, you're there to like kind of like help facilitate repairs and whatnot, but it's also in a lot of ways it's a way, kind of a weird way of you actually being able to kind of like share your knowledge of it with people who might not have quite the same knowledge.
Yeah.
So, and that's also like, you know, that's another way that you're just like, you're kind of giving back to the cosplay community, aren't you? You've been doing so.
I'm just like, I've spent what, like 10 to 13 years learning what I learn. If I don't pass that knowledge on to the next generation, what is the point?
Yeah, there's no sense in gatekeeping it.
It's not going to do me any good. What am I going to, I don't have the codes to Fort Knox over here. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, I'm not bothered. It's just like, if someone asks me, where did you get that fabric from? I'm going to tell them where I got the fabric from. Like,
yeah, there doesn't have to be this like conflict of interests, like in the way that they be in. That's like, well, I had to like learn how to do this for like 5 years. So I'm not going to tell you, you need to work it out for yourself. In the same way that I know that I imagine that a lot of people's like childhood was like with like some of the adults in their life. It's like, you need to learn how to do this yourself.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, you could help me. And
I always say to people, if it's something very specific that maybe is a little bit advanced for me to properly advise on, you know, I have my business cards on the table and I say to people like, you know, take one, send me an email and we can discuss it a bit further when I'm not in a con setting where I've got to help lots of people. Or I'll say to them, you know, oh, okay, so if you're doing this, there's this person on YouTube by the name of la da da, they've got a good tutorial on how to do that. You know, it's no skin off my nose. If someone, I really don't understand why people are so gatekeepy. It's like, life's too short. Get a grip, you know?
Exactly. Bravo.
I guess my last sort of set of questions really were if you happen to have any sort of anime hot takes at all.
Oh, so I'm one of these people who I do like anime, but it doesn't get as much of my attention as it probably should, given that I work for an AnimeCon. I have very specific interests. So, for example, I'm the person who hasn't watched Dragon Ball, hasn't watched My Hero. It's on my list. For me, it's always been Sailor Moon. And then I watched, you know, My Happy Marriage, Vinland Saga. You know, I have quite a mix. I love Hunter x Hunter as well. But I think I find anime easier to consume if it's on a subscription service that I already own, as opposed to having to pay for something else. And I don't think they need to be long to be good, because My Happy Marriage is like 8 episodes or something, and it's good. Whereas some of these ones where if you were to get started on it today, you'd still be watching it in 6 years trying to catch up. I feel like that's really off-putting.
Yeah.
I'm
I
also
think
I like dub, not sub, which I know a lot of people hate me for that, but I like to listen to it in English. I'm sorry, I don't want to read my telly. Okay, I want to listen.
I think you raise some really valid points, though. I think it being on multiple subscription services, I think really helps with the exposure more than anything. And I think it reduces some of those entry level, entry into the genre. So I'm more for it diversifying on different platforms instead of you have to go to this one specific place to see all of it sort of thing. So I definitely agree there. Smaller compact, I can agree with as well. There's no, I literally done it this weekend. I smashed through like a 12 episode thing dubbed. And enjoyed it. It's exactly that. Nice, compact, simple narrative. Nothing more, nothing less. He's back.
I definitely think as well that like some of the animes that I've got into as well has been because an English voiced artist that I like is in it. And I think it's underestimated that that's why the dubs can be so beneficial, because it's like, then someone that you follow and like can go, oh, hey, I did this. And you go, oh, okay, I'll give it a watch then. That's how I ended up watching Bubble when that was, on Netflix, because because Keith Silverstein was like, I'm in it. And I was like, oh, I'll watch it then. Like, and I loved it. Plus again, I'm a bit more like, no, the dubs aren't bad. The dubs are, they help get people into it. I probably wouldn't have given Vinland Saga a go if it wasn't for half the voice cast in that. And
amazing. I so the anime I watched this weekend was one called The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic, which stars Sino that you mentioned earlier. So he's the MC in it. His voice acting throughout it was so dynamic. It was really cool. But again, I just popped it on, didn't have to do anything, just had it playing, and finished it in that same day. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Really, really cool. If you happen to have any sort of anime recommendations.
Ooh. I mean, I'll always tell people to watch Hunter x Hunter because I just think it's so good. It's a bit messed up in places, but it is good. But I do also like things, I liked Bubble because it was cute and easy to watch. So I'm always going to say things like that, but I'm also going to say things like, I'm more of a cartoon person, so I will never not tell people to watch Miraculous Ladybug. I'm just like, watch it, take my Disney Plus, watch it.
It is like so good though. It's like little bite-sized chunks of the best bit of anime every single episode.
Yeah. And then you watch it and you're like, you'll be watching it and you'll be like going, cool, this is tackling some deep issues for a kids show here. Oh, hold up. But I love stuff like that. But I think, anything that's Hunter x Hunter definitely I would always recommend. And Sailor Moon obviously is like a classic, isn't it? Who doesn't love a bit of, I feel like there's nothing wrong with the format of magical girl defeats bad guy and they all go off and have cupcakes afterwards. Like that's fine.
Perfect.
If life could be like this.
It's shoujo. Sometimes I wish was just everyone's teenage years. Like it just be perfect. But I just thought of, have you ever seen Young Justice?
I have not.
Definitely worth a go. Definitely.
Okay. It's just come to UK Netflix.
Okay.
It's all about, have you heard of it before? Or?
No.
Okay, so it's all about the sidekicks of DC heroes. So it's like Robin, it's Aqualad, they all come together, but they tackle, it's supposed to be a cartoon, but it tackles like some deep stuff
as well. It's really heavy in places.
Like, really?
Okay, really, really heavy.
It's one of those shows as well, which I think it like kind of is on the cusp of like regular cartoon and anime. Like they kind of like overlap in a couple of ways, don't they? It's kind of like fun in that way. So love it. Love
Yeah.
Injustice.
I think you might like it if
Okay.
if that's your
It does also follow those lovely tropes of like first season, most of the first season quite lighthearted, get to the end, suddenly wow, very
Like
dark.
over.
And then it's just like the darkness is just going down and down and down.
Yeah.
So a bit like when we all went to see like Avengers Infinity War and then we're just like depressed for 2 years until they brought out Endgame. It's
Yeah.
it was like
That's a pretty good example.
Yeah. I guess the only difference, I guess it's kind of like Harry Potter because they grow up as well, so you kind of see them mature into their own superheroes and stuff. But again, it doesn't get any easier because they're growing into adulthood and stuff.
yeah.
So yeah, it's really funny because the first couple of episodes, it's like we're here to sell action figures, and then it's like dark. So yeah, I think you might like that. Susie Day, any other questions you may have that I may have missed?
I think you've done an exemplary job of being the lead host.
Thank you.
And asked all relevant questions.
Super.
I just come in without a plan. I'm just like I'm always joking. I'm just the talent. I just show up and make jokes and hot takes and stuff.
He's the diva.
There's always one.
He's a diva. Yeah.
Someone's got to do all the hard work, and someone's got to come in and do the easy bit, and that's my job. I do come in and do the easy bit.
Fair enough.
Bex, it's been wonderful to have you with us today. Thank you so much again for gracing us and letting us be silly for 40 odd minutes. So thank you so much.
No, thank you for having me. I'm very much looking forward to seeing you at the show. You better come see me at the hospital. I'll be like, I know you people.
Absolutely. And as a reminder to everyone listening or watching, please make sure to check out the convention happening the 15th and 16th of June, starting from 10 a.m. right up to 6 p.m. and 5 p.m. on the Sunday. And then I'm right in thinking the after party is on the Saturday.
Yes. Be right after on a Saturday. So the only thing to note about the after party is 18 plus. So, and you do need a separate ticket for it. But I promise it's worth it. It's great fun. Get some bops on, get some little light sticks, be like, way.
We'll need to look into that because our cameraman is getting married shortly after the con. So
really?
So we're like he doesn't often get a chance to come to the cons and stuff like that. So we're bringing him along, and we're gonna.
Is that gonna be like his stag do?
That's my next couple of weekends are very busy. That's next weekend. And then it's the following weekend is the con. So
I love that.
Yeah. So it's almost like his own little nerdy stag, isn't it?
Nerdy stag,
his boy stag next weekend, and then this is like the little nerdy stag. So yeah, we haven't told him yet, but we're going to get him to wear a boar head mask. So he'll be doing a little bit of cosplay, I guess, by default. Yeah. So that'll be fun. Yes. So really excited. I have to say, I have seen clips of some of our other friends who do podcasts, and some of the stuff they got up to at the after party, some of the dance moves and shapes they were throwing is hilarious. It always makes me giggle. So yeah, that.
I'm trying to convince the rest of like the management that we all need to go, and we all need to like have something like really obnoxious hats or something that show we're management, and just be like, right, management are going to come in and we're gonna work off the stress that we've had for like 6 months.
There is absolutely going to be a party-wide bling bang bang born, I imagine. So,
oh yes, the martial like little dance. Yeah. I can see that definitely. Excellent. Again, thank you so much for your time, and look forward to this convention.
It's going to be a good one.
It's going to be a good one. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and we will see you all soon.